Every day your data is being tracked, sold, or stolen. Let me show you how to protect yourself. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're digging deep into digital privacy, and just give me the next few minutes. I'm going to be showing you a few tips and tricks on how to protect yourself online in 2025. Okay, so the first tip is to always use a strong unique password or a password manager. I get it. I understand the urge for you to want to create passwords that you can easily remember. Some people use their date of birth, some people use something that, is probably relatable to them. And the one mistake that they do is that whenever they create these passwords, they use it across their various accounts. That's a very bad practice because if someone hacks into that password, it's very easy for them to access every other of your accounts, and I'm very sure you don't want that to happen. So when you're most platforms have already put certain measures in place to help people develop that habit of creating unique passwords or strong passwords, and you get to see things like impute a character. Your password should not be more than or should not be less than 8 characters. Use special characters, do this, do that. It's all in a bid for you to come up with a unique password that nobody would guess. Let's take for instance, someone wants to hack into your account. They would want to start guessing things that are peculiar to you. For instance, your date of birth, your phone number, and various other things before they go a step further. So what I personally recommend is using password managers. Sometimes it's very difficult to come up with the most strongest passwords, to impute in these platforms and try to just stick to it. So what I recommend is use a password manager. Personally, I use Bitwarden, but then there's also one password. So what it does is it helps you create as many accounts. So let's say you have an account on Gmail, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, any accounts that you have created so far in life. You can create each folder. It's called a list, so you can create each list for these accounts. And what happens is that when it gets to the password point, it's you're able to generate passwords. So you can have a one-time password, or whenever you feel like you're no longer up to it, you can generate a new password. And it usually comes in different weird characters, so it's not even something that you would personally remember. So for me, like, so far, that's kind of the safest way of generating passwords and being able to use them. Alternatively, you can just come up with something that is unique to you. People do use signs and symbols of things that stand for something that's personal to them, such that no matter what happens, they don't forget it. So when next you're creating your password, or after you finish watching this video, try to revamp your passwords, because you are at the risk of getting hacked by all these people that are always looking out for who to leech from. The second thing is to enable two-factor authentication on all your important accounts. I don't know how to emphasize this enough, but I don't know, people feel like it's usually very stressful to enable two-factor authentication. I know that initial time is stressful. You have to link the account, you have to confirm a code and all of that. But it's really important, because your two-factor authentication account is unique to your email. It's unique to you, such that if you link the various accounts that you want to link, it just adds that extra layer of security, such that, if somebody tries to hack your WhatsApp, for instance, from anywhere, and then they are being asked to input a two-factor authentication code, which should be generated in your two-factor authentication app, it's going to be a bit difficult because they don't have access to the app. So it's just an added layer of security. In most cases, people still do hack through all of this, but it takes a longer time, and in most cases, they don't even hack through it. So always enable your two-factor authentication. The main essence is that practice all forms of security to protect yourself from your own end, and leave the rest to the internet. Okay, so the next one is to browse with privacy first browsers. I understand everybody has their favorite browser at this point. I also have my favorite browser at this point, but I think you can also research on, there are some sensitive things that you want to research on, or sensitive accounts that you want to log in on. You may want to consider browsing with really safe browsers or safety first browsers. So for instance, we have Firefox, we have Brave. Most of those browsers have added level of security to them, and It's also very difficult for somebody to hack in. I think Safari also is a privacy browser, I think, but I'm very sure of Brave browser. So even with Brave browser, you can actually browse with a VPN, which is what I'll be talking next about. So make sure to get yourself a privacy first browser, regardless of what happens, regardless of if you have a favorite browser or not. The next way you can protect yourself if you are browsing some really sensitive stuff is to use a VPN, a virtual private network. So what that helps you do is it encrypts your messages, or how would I put it? It hides your messages, it hides your browsing history, it hides everything. It basically makes you invisible on the web. So nobody is able to track your activities, nobody is able to track what you're browsing or what you're doing or where you're at. And you know that aside from that, VPN also allows you to connect to other countries, because I mean, if for those in Nigeria, you remember there was a time where Twitter was banned and it affected a lot of techies. So funny enough, they didn't really complain. It was just that extra stress of having to connect to VPN every time you want to access Twitter. It was so freaking stressful. But the complaint was not as much as it should have been, because there's something called VPN. So VPN also allows you to connect to various countries. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. And the number one free one I would say is the Tor browser. Um, on Brave. So Brave also has a VPN service that you can use for free without any stress. And then there are also VPNs like Proton, but most of them are actually paid. So if I'm you, I'll always look forward to looking using browsers that have free VPNs or using the free VPNs. It protects and adds that extra level of security. The next thing is social media sharing. I don't know what is wrong with my generation, but you guys share any and everything on the internet. Like on TikTok, I have been seeing a lot of things happen to people, especially ladies, and it just doesn't make sense. Like most of them feel, oh, welcome to a day in my life, welcome to this, and you're sharing every single thing. You're sharing you're filming your house, you're literally showing armed robbers where the security cameras are, or where or how to access your house. Like I'm not saying don't film a day in my life, but try to be discreet about it. It's not everything. In as much as creators, people do have this idea that as a creator, you have to share everything about your life on social media. I don't think that is the right way to look at it. I see it as a creator, you have to share valuable things. Whatever you're sharing on the internet has to be valuable to the next person, right? And if you're sharing about your life and your private stuffs online, then be rest assured that it's going to be valuable to somebody that would want to act on that thing. Right, so every content that goes out there has a particular target audience that it's gonna get to. So try to limit the exposure that you're putting on yourself, because you never can tell who is watching your video. You never can tell the kind of person the person is, what they are capable of doing. So be very discreet. You know, you're a creator, I get it. You're trying to film about your life, your lifestyle and everything, I get it. First of all, develop the habit of always filming your content, uploading your content when you have left a particular place. So on social media sharing, for instance, there are some people that you can follow through their story and you know exactly where they are. On Snapchat, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but on Snapchat you can turn on your location, so anybody on your contacts on Snapchat will be able to see that you're at XYZ hotel, or that you're at XYZ location. It just gives that exact location. I see that a lot on my Snapchat and I'm like, what is going on? Why are people not self-aware? Anybody that knows that can literally use that to, track you down to where you are. And then again, posting in real time, telling people, oh, I just got here, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that, is not safe, because you don't know who is you don't know who is your enemy, and you don't know who likes you. So it's best for you to just stay hidden. And then try to be discreet about the kind of content you're sharing. You don't have to show what your house looks like. You don't have to, show the entrance of your house. You don't have to film yourself driving into your street. You don't have to film all of that. You don't even have to film your plate number. You don't have to do any of those things. You can just do a B-roll, maybe some sections of your house. That's totally fine. People would get the memo of the kind of content you're trying to put out without you necessarily exposing yourself. And yes, I think I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. It is possible for you to be a content creator, a lifestyle content creator, or whatever creator it is, and share as much valuable things as possible from your life without exposing yourself to harm. Yes, another thing is that there are some apps that when you install them and you're trying to sign up, they will ask you to allow tracking permissions. Do not ever allow these things. Yes, at first it's going to come in as very harmless, because maybe you're trying to use the app and they're telling you, oh, we only want to track your location to know where you are, or we only want to do this, we only want to do that, we only want to get this exact information. Nothing is really going to happen. I get it. In most cases, they may not even allow you to access the app, because at the end of the day, you have to allow certain permissions for you to be able to use the app. So you can do that temporarily, and once you do that, turn it off, because you don't know how, you can't trust these apps 100%. Also, you don't know who is scam or who is not scam. You don't know whose employee has hacked into the system or not. You don't know if these apps or if these platforms have your interest at heart or not. So it's always best for you not to even accept those permissions. If an app is asking to track your location, then I don't know what to feel about that. Most bank apps do, most financial fintech platforms they do, and maybe some other platforms they do. But it's wise for you to accept that initial time to be able to set up your account, and afterwards turn it off, because it is not safe. The next tip I'm going to give you is that you should always keep your softwares and your apps updated at all times. There's a reason why these apps are being updated. There's a reason why changes are being sent, and then you get a notification, oh, update your app, oh, update your app. Sometimes they just maybe must have added an extra level of security, or maybe their database must have been compromised somewhere or the other, or maybe they've just updated to new features that would help you enjoy the app better. Regardless of whatever the reason is, always make sure that your apps and your softwares are up to date, because again, you don't know when the current one you're using has become vulnerable, and someone can easily just hack into the system, and your stuff are gone. So whenever you get a prompt to always update your apps, always update your softwares, do that without hesitation. I understand in most cases you may want to wait for a little while to see if there are no bugs with the new update. I get it. But once you've clarified that there are no bugs with the new update, always make sure that your apps and softwares are updated. That way, you're sure of your security. It's up to date. Nothing is compromised. So the next one is that you should always use burner emails for signups. Sometimes I think this is a mistake that I made personally. I have one email address that I use to sign up and do everything, and the one mistake that I made was that I also use it officially. Having a burner email is like you having just a random email address that if you want to sign up on a new platform, you can just sign up on that platform and do whatever you want to do. And then you also have another email, which is an official email where you can use to communicate with clients, use to apply for jobs and all of those things. Now, what that does for you is that for burner emails, especially email accounts where you probably have not set up your two-factor authentication, or you don't have a strong password, one can easily hack into that email, use the data that you have sent and received over time to blackmail you or to get an important thing out of you. And if that happens in a burner email, like, there's little to nothing. I remember some years back when I got an email from an unknown sender, and the person said you must have seen that I am sending this email from your email, which means I have access to your account, I have access to your passwords, I have access to this. You have to do this and do that and do that. I was shocked. I mean, as young as I was, I had started, learning about online privacy at a very young age, so it wasn't something strange to me. The first thing I did was to change my password, because I felt like if you have access to my password and you can send me an email within my own email, then all I need to do is change my password. So I changed my password immediately. And I mean, not to even think of one time I was hacked, my Facebook was hacked, and the person used my Facebook account to post pornography, tagged everybody. Oh my god, it was such a humiliating experience. So I think that having one email for all those junk sign-ups, if it's really important, let's say you're signing up for a new bank account or anything, then you can have use your official email. But if you're just finding this out, having that one email where you use for all kinds of sign-ups and junk stuff is just perfect for you. And finally, avoid public Wi-Fi's without protection. I know how tempting it can be for you to access public Wi-Fi, especially the ones where you're like, oh, there's no password. Let me just plug in. The little connection that you make might ruin you, because as long as it's coming from your device, it's possible for somebody to use that and track your device, use that to get information out of your device and every other thing, and you don't want that to happen. So always stay away from public Wi-Fi that has no protection. In most cases you would see the notification, so it's not like it's hidden. Let it be that you're the one stubbornly saying you want to connect to the Wi-Fi, but most of these Wi-Fi's do have those notifications not protected. And then it doesn't even make sense for you to connect to a public Wi-Fi that isn't protected. Even the Wi-Fi's at airports are protected. You'll be asked to check box after maybe reading a couple of terms and conditions. You'll be asked to watch a particular video for a long while before you're able to access the Wi-Fi. Like, they have those stages or those levels of things you need to go through before you're able to connect, in as much as it's free. So always be aware of these things to be able to protect yourself. Tell me in the comment section, which of these things have you personally done to protect yourself, and do you have any experience where someone maybe blackmailed you or tried to hack your account before? Let's hear you in the comments. So that's it, my friends. If this video helped you, share, like, subscribe, share with someone that this video will help their digital life, and let's also hear in the comments what your experiences have been so far. Bye bye, see you in my next one.